Today I'm going to talk about World War II and the Japanese internment camp. On December 7, 1941, Pearl Harbor was bombed by the Japanese. This was a dark day in U.S. history. In early 1942, President Roosevelt was pressured to move people of Japanese descent into internment camps due to the rumors of sabotage. On February 19, 1942, Roosevelt signs an Executive Order 9066, which forced all Japanese Americans, regardless of their loyalty or citizenship, to evacuate the West Coast. This moved roughly 120,000 people to 10 different camps across the United States. Many were forced to sell their property. This was all done for national security reasons. Even the families of U.S. soldiers were made to stay in these camps. They were all told that they must leave their farms and pack one bag and report to the railroad station, where they will then go to detention camps to protect them. If this was for their protection, then why was there barbed wire all over these camps and the guns were facing in towards the people rather than out as protectors? Life at these camps was hard. There was limited access to the outside world. Families were segregated into different apartments, but they had to use a common toilet, bathhouse, and laundry system. They only served meat 2 days a week due to rationing, and there was no milk unless you were an infant or nursing. An education system was set up at these camps. This education system was used to impose American ideas on the students rather than staying true to the Japanese culture. There was roughly 30,000 students throughout the time from 1942 to 1945. They were not given the same quality of schooling as other individuals in the country at the time. They were constantly understaffed. There were classrooms of 48 students to one teacher at the elementary level and 35 students to one teacher at the secondary level. There were roughly 2,000 teachers hired during this time, but only 43 of them actually had a license. There were no textbooks at first or testing equipment for science. This was also a challenge for the educators because English was typically a second language for these individuals, as they were first-generation Americans. The teachers then used propaganda to influence their students, helping them show that the United States way was the best, and there was no other way that should be considered. Some 3,600 different individuals of Japanese descent entered the armed forces from these camps, as did 22,000 other individuals of Japanese descent that were outside of the relocation zones. One of the most famous regiments in the Army was the 442nd. This was an all-Japanese regiment that became highly decorated in Italy and Germany. In 1948, a law was passed to reimburse any lost property due to the internment of an individual in a Japanese internment camp. In 1988, Congress then gave $20,000 to all survivors of the camps. This is roughly 75,000 different individuals and led to a total payment of $1.6 billion for the United States government. This is listed as one of the largest mistakes that the U.S. has made in wartime history. This is a great deprivation of civil rights by our government.